Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Lost Child 14,000. I can't tell you how big a ripoff a lot of Steam games are. No, I really can't. There are literally hundreds of festering cucks who will point out the worst offenders and decry all of Steam as being a slop trough of unfinished garbage. Then, for everybody in the anti-Steam party, you have an easily corrupted dick, claiming that anything harsher than the old greenlight methods would be too gatekeeping, and Valve's supply of money must be kept constant or else all the memes will die. I just think there's a way to sell tons of good games and maybe orgasm every once in a while, that's all. Disgraced, however, is worth your time and hard-earned cash. I found myself searching for a game with the same feel as Tenchu and Soul of the Samurai one night. It's sort of an ultra-real ancient Japanese game, but with a tinge of Western drama so I can make out the story from more than just how everybody's talking at each other. So this game is comparable to Tenchu of all things. Essentially the game is a JRPG about Japan in the late Sengoku Jidai. You get to pick your starting class and skills and sex, which can really make the game interesting. Not that it changes anything gameplay-wise, but I thought it was hilarious how you can change a thriller into a comedy simply by playing the game as a female circus performer or a cowardly tax accountant, and everybody still expects you to lead the rebels to victory like a Japanese Che Guevara, Che Chambara, if you will. The best part about this game is that it really did all it could to make me feel like I was taking on the role of someone's life. A lot of role-playing games these days sort of play like a power fantasy as the player does his or her best to reach a point of apotheosis or ultimate warrior. However, this game's goal isn't to make a god out of the main player or the character, as the main character is more or less known as a great warrior being the first one to rebel against the unjust nature of the current empire in the region, and live. Now, you'd think someone would have deserted sooner, seeing as the current shogun in this game is portrayed like a Disney villain. The biggest and best rewards come from taking part in the story and completing side quests rather than grinding repetitively, and you mostly gain skills and power levels from just taking part in the main story. Though there is no real way to level up every aspect of your character, rather than a specific class or occupation or skill tree thrown at you from the start, you choose your character's look and sex, doesn't really affect gameplay, followed by their background, basic personality traits, and at least one specialty. And as you level up, you can earn new techniques and abilities and buffs. But it's like trying to build a house in a tar pit if you really want to level up everything all the way. I'm not sure if it's possible, and it's not nearly worth the effort. This adds to the idea of building a character and a playstyle. You're not trying to become the expert of everything, but use skills, techniques, and equipment to build your protagonist, and the accompanying NPC companions accordingly, while you work your way through the prefecture. In the end, you could be a jack of all trades, ace of none, or choose the right balance of skills to be a ninja, a legendary sniper, brute, or storm of swords. All of your companions can be found pretty much from the start, as no area, no matter how dangerous it gets, is really off limits. I found that as the game progresses, you will have a core of 4 or 5 fighters that are always the best among your group, but in battle you can trade them out without any cost. So the more characters that you have in your party, the more hands you really have to carry equipment and help beat up your enemies. And the longer that you have them with you, the higher their level is likely to be. Also, in the middle of fights, the easy start-of-game enemies can be beaten with a quick all-attack command sweep, but later on, foes will start to block and parry attacks if you don't start putting some effort into it. Unless you're playing on easy mode. Unlockable skills and buffs go a long way to buffing you and your party as well. There are very few random encounters, so it's not really about the grind. There is a pit of fighters in the hardest region of the game, but it really doesn't add much beyond a place to get some money and level up a bit. Especially those NPCs that you had been neglecting. It's almost like the game is saying, "Here we go, you insecure maverick renegades. You go ahead and level up so that you have absolutely no challenge when it comes to the final boss whatsoever. Make these characters we've taken so long to get to know into game-prolonging chess pieces that have just as much power and half the personality as the hero from Fable 1. Meanwhile, the perfectly capable adults will sort out the Empire. The game was just what I was looking for at the time, and unlike other games, you can kind of customize the experience that you want to have. I'd probably like to see more depth and impact in the character interactions for how customizable your protagonist is in battle and character background. Most of the character missions and interactions contain little choice besides help these people a little bit, or a lot, and then they follow you, or leave them to their own misery. But I can live with it as is for now. My first playthrough I played as a ninja build. Basically a highly skilled peasant mercenary rogue with a starting specialization in dexterity and exotic weapons. I had an A and B team of warriors and healers to throw into battle, participated in every quest on the map, never chose to gain new abilities, because I didn't know that I could, bought few weapons and rebuilt the whole state/prefecture with the help of an ex-paramilitary leader, and still managed to fight and win against the final boss. On my second playthrough, I started as a female noble with good heavy and close range skills. I leveled up my party capacity, went straight for the characters that I wanted to have most of all, and started the game proper as a wealthy female sumo wrestler, with a band of 3 girl fighters and a young samurai prodigy pretty boy. Gee, I wonder what it was like splitting that bedroll every night.